Hello, welcome to Podfix Galore. I'm your horrible online reader, Goldscutt. I read out loud fanfictions for you BCBs, free of charge and no strings attached. Today I will continue reading the Naruto Alternative Universe fic from Archive of Our Own by Misatos Penpen and Phoenix Innocence called Scars. I hope you can at least try to enjoy my voice, and I will try my best for you with the equipment available to me. Note, this fic is rated explicit. On with the show. Scars by Misatos Penpen and Phoenix Innocence. Chapter 8. Friday, November 13th. Deidara found the brothers in bed together and was a little disappointed to see they were both fully clothed. He not so secretly desired a threesome, and the younger Uchiha was definitely as sexy as his elder brother. He was happy to see that they were both breathing. The morning was a little awkward, but Deidara didn't need to hear why they had reconciled yet again. Everything Deidara had been thinking to help convince Sasuke that Itachi was innocent again had probably gone through Sasuke's head too, and led to the very late night brotherly snuggle. "Sasuke," Itachi said into the silence as they ate the breakfast Deidara made. "I called someone I know in the press while you were changing," he lied. "And the two chasing you last night are fine, just a little bruised from going into the ditch." "Good," he sighed. "I'm in so much trouble when I do get back, but this all feels like I can't go back. It's like that life ended the night you emailed, just like how my childhood ended that night." Itachi grabbed him gently by the neck and pulled him closer. Sasuke pulled his chair closer to Itachi so he could lean on him. The shared grief last night had brought them far closer, though Itachi might have to pay for that slap one of these days. "So we're back to square one," Deidara said. Uncharacteristically, Itachi let his anger and frustration out. "Fuck!" Itachi hit the table with both hands, startling them both. It was the first time Sasuke heard his brother swear in a very long time. I don't know where else to look. All these years, all that work, and now we have nothing. Less than we even had last night. Kisa!" Sasuke hunched in on himself and remained silent. Itachi was reminding him of their father. He could have a temper, but he'd never strike anyone or shout. Sasuke learned how to swear in 2 languages by listening to the man. Sasuke always hunched in and went quiet when their father was angry, trying to keep him from noticing him, not wanting that anger directed at him. Itachi noticed. He hated seeing Sasuke go meek and quiet when they were young, and hated it more now since he knew that it wasn't their father anymore, and he was the cause. His brother was now brash and independent, not afraid to pull a gun or get into a firefight. Seeing him cower like that. Itachi grabbed Sasuke again, pulling him out of his chair, and hugged him tightly. "I'm sorry, Sasuke. I'm sorry for everything. I wanted to come back into your life with all the proof I was innocent, and the true murderer exposed. I wanted to bring you peace, not more grief. I've caused you so much trouble. You're going to be in a lot of trouble when you go back to work. Maybe I should go back to Ame." Sasuke grabbed him tightly and shifted into a more comfortable position. "You're not leaving me again. I'll go with you. I'll go to Ame with you. Sasuke, your life is here. Your friends, your boyfriend, everything's here. You're more important to me." And it was true. His heart was aching to see Kakashi again, but just the thought of being separated from his brother again felt like it would be fatal. Sasuke had shed much of his bitterness towards Itachi during their last argument, and they had both moved past the pointless bickering with their shared grief last night. Yesterday, they wanted to get away from each other. This morning, they didn't want to be separated. Deidara kept his mouth shut during all this, just drank his coffee. It was oppressively silent, but they had nothing to say. They couldn't hear Sasuke crying, but knew he was. Itachi didn't let him go for a few minutes. Sasuke eased away, keeping his face from Deidara's view as he wiped his face with his hand and sleeve. He sat with red eyes and didn't eat. Itachi didn't eat either. Deidara was practically shoveling his food in his mouth. Deidara grabbed Itachi's plate without asking once his own was licked clean. "I've gotta go to work," Deidara said. "It's Saturday," Sasuke pointed out. "Like you don't work weekends?" "Of course. Why should I think you're normal? As a matter of fact, I do get most weekends off, cases permitting. Cases permitting, Data agreed. Anyway, it's Friday. I'm supposed to work tomorrow too, though. I got 4 days off. Back to the salt mines. Be here when I get back. Sasuke was shocked to hear that he was wrong about the day. He put it down to not working or having his phone. We will, Itachi said. It'll take some planning to get to Ame. We'll deal with that tomorrow or whatever. You might have to drive us there with us underneath a tarp in the back. Underneath, Sasuke muttered. You must see underneath the underneath. What? Itachi asked. It's something Kakashi would always tell us. You must be able to see underneath the underneath. You have to look past the obvious and even deeper. A problem could have many layers. I'm burned out thinking about it, Itachi said. I'm defeated. I've gone through everything several times and I saw no other suspects. I do this almost every day. I'm a little burned out too, but I just need time to clear my head. You do that, baby Uchiha, Deidara said as he stood up. I need to get to work. Sure I can't take the caddy? He asked with a smile. Sasuke's face fell. They saw the truck last night. They followed us. They'll have the license plate to that one as well. They'll come looking for you. Sasuke stood up, on the verge of panic. They'll come here. We got to get Itachi. Whoa, hold on, baby Uchiha. This house is in my uncle's name, my mother's brother. He lives in Iwa. No one can discover us here, and the truck isn't under my name yet. Our cars are parked out front. There's an alley behind the house. We'll park back there for now. Don't worry about it. They'll go to Kisame. Kisame will protect us, Itachi said. I'll call him and tell him to expect the feds. They saw you and they might have recognized you, Sasuke told Deidara. You can't go to work. There, you're right, Deidara sat back down. He pulled Sasuke's untouched plate to him and continued eating. I'm sorry, Deidara, Itachi said. This is starting to mess with your life as well. Deidara shrugged. You two are rich. Once you clear this up, it'll be worth it. It was the wrong thing to say in front of Sasuke, who was the objective of many gold diggers' attention over the years. He glared and stood up. Itachi shot up and grabbed him. He's joking, Sasuke. He's not after our family's money. Sasuke let himself to be held back, but he continued to glare. Lighten up, Deidara said. I love Itachi. Think about it. If I wanted money, I would have turned him in. What's the reward for his head? 2 million? Sasuke sat back down. Baby Uchiha needs to learn how to take a joke. Baby Uchiha just got his appetite back, Sasuke said. You can either go move your truck, and I'll let you move my caddy, or I will punch you in the gut, just out of spite. Deidara happily held out his hand. Your keys? Right coat pocket. Living room. Nechi and Sakura stayed home. Everyone else regrouped in their little conference room in the morning, allowing Kakashi and Naruto a scant few hours of sleep. Shikamaru and Temari came in to find the rest of their colleagues looking beleaguered. We've recovered the bones, Shikamaru said. The autopsy has been given priority, and since it's just bones, shouldn't take long. We found some blonde hairs that seem to be left by the person with Sasuke. One has a root, so we're running DNA on it. This scarf was tied to the handle that opened the pit. He held up an evidence bag. Anyone recognize it? It's Sasuke's! Naruto and Kakashi said at the same time. It was black with his family crest on it. Troublesome, Shikamaru sighed. We got an ID on the truck, Temari said. It's registered to Kisame Hoshikaki. He owns a rental company, mostly trucks for construction and the like. He also sells used trucks. Since Nechi and Sakura aren't here, Kakashi, you want to take Naruto? Yeah, get him out. Why don't you work on our other case today? Sure. Here's Hoshikake's file, Temari said, handing Kakashi a folder. He has priors. Thanks. Kisame didn't look perturbed in the slightest when Kakashi and Naruto entered his office. How can I help you? Kisame asked. You guys don't look like you need a concrete mixer. We are looking for a truck that was involved in a car chase last night, Kakashi said as he showed his ID. A red Toyota Tundra, license plate 8A00577. I've got a red Tundra, and since you came here, I'm guessing it has that license number. It's in the back. Kisame led them outside to a fairly full parking lot and to an empty spot. Well, this is where it should be.
You didn't notice it was missing?
Naruto asked. See all these trucks? Kisame said, indicating the lot around them. I don't know them all well and don't keep a day-to-day track of them. Must have been stolen. Must have, Kakashi repeated suspiciously. When do you remember last seeing it? About 3 weeks ago. Are you acquainted with Sasuke Uchiha? No, can't say I am. No, anyone with long blonde hair, about my height? Not personally, no. Brunettes are more my type. I was asking about a man. Doesn't change my answer, Kisame said with a smirk. Kakashi looked around, trying to think of how they could trace the truck. His eye landed on a blue F-150 with a bullet hit in the tailgate. What's the story with that truck? What about it? The bullet strike. Came like that. Where did you get it? Some guy donated it. Didn't want to drive that piece of junk anymore. Come to think of it, he was blonde, Kisame said, knowing that the VIN could trace back to Deidara. I want to take down the VIN number, if you don't mind. Go ahead. Need anything else? Any surveillance cameras? Nope. Can't afford them. Very well. I'll take down this VIN and we'll get out of your hair. Hey, this car chase. What the blonde do? He's suspected in a missing persons case. Not a kid, is it? And if it was? I'm still gonna help you, but I'd suggest you just kill the motherfucker if it was. No, not a kid. Thank you for your help. If you think of anything or find the truck, here's my card. Good luck, Kisame said as he took the card and went back inside. Naruto sighed. He was glad nothing came of this, but he wondered what the hell Sasuke was doing in a stolen car. Kakashi got the name for the F-150, Deidara Bakuha, an ancient with the ATF. He called them and got Deidara's home and cell numbers, learning he didn't come in, but it was the first day after a few days' vacation, so they figured he was hungover or delayed. There was no answer at his house, but he did answer his cell. Bakuha? Deidara answered. Agent Bakuha, this is Special Agent Hatake with the FBI. I wanted to ask you about your truck. My truck? A blue F-150. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to this rental guy who was a friend of a friend. I wanted to ask you about the bullet strike. Ricochet at a small gun range about a year ago. No real harm done. What do you want to know about it? I was curious about seeing evidence of a gunshot. We were at Kisame's Rentals checking out a truck that was used in a crime. Oh, well, nothing criminal about that one, except that everyone thinks it's valueless. I wanted to ask you one more thing. You happen to be acquainted with Sasuke Uchiha? 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 I do know that name. Isn't he wanted for murder? That's his brother. Ah. No, I don't know him. Just checking. Say, why aren't you at work today? Hurt my leg during my vacation. Might want to let your boss know. Goodbye. Bye. Kakashi hung up his desk phone. Long shot anyway, he sighed to no one. Kisame had called them and prepared Deidara for Kakashi's call, and they believed they were in the clear. Sasuke had to smile that Kakashi had come so close to actually finding him. He loved his genius boyfriend. But that made him sad too. He wanted to see Kakashi and wanted to be held by him right now. He could feel the ghost touch of his hand on his back, and the way he would gently grab his neck as they sat close to each other, a reassuring but somewhat possessive hold. He was a little emotional after last night, and he was almost in tears again thinking about Kakashi. He tried to conjure his scent as well, but it wasn't as vivid in his mind. He really needed to get back to him. Just after the call, Itachi stood from the kitchen table, the faint sound of a phone vibrating coming from his pocket. Excuse me, he said as he hurried into the bedroom. He pulled out Sasuke's phone and answered it. I was expecting you to call.
What the fuck is going on?
Naruto demanded.
We tracked the truck you were in.
I know, Kisame called us.
So you didn't steal the truck?
No, of course not.
What the?
It'll take too long to explain. Give me a little more time and try not to give Kisame any grief, okay?
We've got nothing on him, just his priors.
Today is not a good day to talk. Naruto sighed.
I know. How are you both doing?
It comes in waves. I've got to go. Thank you for covering for us and for keeping me updated.
I just want the bastard who did it call and you both to come home.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, Itachi.
There was a knock at the bedroom door. Yeah? Itachi called. Deidara opened the door, came in, and shut the door behind him. Who do you keep talking to on Sasuke's phone? Isn't it supposed to be turned off? Itachi chewed on his lip. Sasuke's friend in the FBI. I got him to trust me and help keep them from investigating me. He's been keeping me informed. You trust him? I'm still free, aren't I? I can't believe you trust someone like this. You don't know him. True, but I remember him. And he's Sasuke's friend. As long as you know what you're doing. I think I do. Just don't tell Sasuke. He won't be happy. Is he ever? Deidara regretted saying that when Itachi's face fell further. It was really a day of grieving. It was hard for Sasuke to focus after finding his father's remains. He even picked up his skull. The idea had sent him into a vapor lock. It creeped him out. Itachi was near tears, thinking about the years he'd harbored such hard thoughts about his father. This entire time, he had been dead, and torn apart and eaten by vermin. That thought saddened and angered both brothers. Deidara wisely left the two Uchiha alone in the living room. They sat in silence, only broken by the ticking of the clock. Sasuke looked down at the ring he rinsed off this morning and put on his thumb. His father's ring. His great-grandfather's ring. Sasuke stood and took off the ring and held it out to Itachi. Itachi was startled, but accepted it. Father's ring, Itachi said in a weak voice. Deidara found it near the bones, Sasuke said in a soft voice. It's how I identified him. Itachi swallowed. Why did this happen, Ototo? Why are they dead? There has to be a reason. I've long since abandoned the idea of reasons for events or fate, Sasuke said. I've seen so many atrocities committed for so little. If you're asking for a motive, I wish I knew. It would make solving this case easier, but if you're asking for some existential reason for events, I don't think there is one. The hand Itachi held the ring and fisted as he tried to suppress emotion. Tears streaked down his cheeks. Sasuke put a hand on Itachi's fist briefly and sat down in the armchair again. Itachi wept silently for a few minutes, just sniffling, not outright sobbing. Where are they buried? Itachi asked when he calmed. The mausoleum? Itachi hummed. I forgot about it. Make sure father's laid to rest there too. Sasuke wanted to say that Itachi could see to that himself, but he really didn't have confidence they could solve this now. Sasuke nodded. Itachi sniffed to clear his sinus and stood. He went to the side table where Deidara kept several bottles of alcohol. Itachi poured himself an amaretto. What do you drink, Sasuke? Typically sake. Normally hokuriko or shochu. Leaving my brother to like the imported stuff. Deidara doesn't have sake. And my brother is a bad Japanese to allow that. Anything that's not sweet. Itachi smiled. Whiskey? Perfect. Itachi brought their glasses and they clinked them in a silent toast before sipping at their drinks. Itachi gave a small laugh. This is the first drink I'm sharing with my baby brother. Sasuke smiled. Itachi took a large sip and then sighed. I'm sorry, Sasuke. I did abandon you. I shouldn't have, but I didn't know what else to do. I was scared. I wasn't that much older than you. I knew your strength, and I trusted you would survive. You were my brother, after all. I'm sorry I pried. I like Kisame. Deidara's fine. I'm just curious. Let's just say Kisame and I had a falling out. We fought. Physically. I promised myself I would never let myself get into a relationship like that with someone overly possessive. Did he hurt you? No, just grabbed me hard enough to leave a bruise. I may have overreacted and injured him pretty badly. He paused. I was 18, not 17. As long as he didn't hurt you. Itachi sat back comfortably. Tell me about your boyfriend, Kakashi. He kept his tone light. He was a rookie when our family died. He was one of the agents who comforted me. That only made me love him more. There was none of the resentment from their fight left in Sasuke's voice. He's an orphan too. He's handsome, funny, he teases me like you do. He loves dogs. He really is the love of my life. I feel so comfortable with him. I've only left 2 people close to me since that night, Kakashi and Naruto. Naruto wasn't by choice, he forced his way in. I let Kakashi in. I wanted to get close to Kakashi. I've been aching for him since the 2nd day here. I'm sorry. Don't be. I love him, but you're more important. If you weren't, I'd already be back. I'm sorry I lectured you about it. It is your life and I have no right to say anything. But I hope you make things right when you get home. I will. I'm not sure how. How do I tell Naruto it's over? I don't want to lose his friendship. I don't think you will. I don't have a lot of friends. Really, I'd say Naruto's my only one. I could count Kakashi, but he's my lover. I've known Neji almost as long as I have Naruto, but we're partners, not friends. I know other people and get along with them, but I never hang out with anyone but Naruto and Kakashi. Since you've been gone, they've become my family. Sasuke drained half his remaining glass. I can't lose any more family. I understand. Itachi shut his eyes. I can't wait to meet them. Sasuke laughed. Kakashi will pull a gun on you the moment he sees you. Even if I tell him ahead of time you're innocent, he'll do it out of reflex, having seen you wanted poster so many times. Itachi laughed too. Is he protective of you? He hasn't had a reason. We're not partners. But I think he is. Good. I'm glad. He sipped on his drink in the silence for a while. Who took care of you after I left? Naruto's parents. Sarutobi asked me if there was anywhere I could stay. I called Naruto and his parents invited me to stay with them as long as I needed. Sasuke's eyes watered. Kushina was so kind. She made Naruto sleep on the sofa the first night. She knew I needed to be alone. She must have heard me crying. She came in and comforted me. After a day or 2, Naruto and I shared the room. Nothing started between us for another year. I applied to be emancipated when I turned 16, and I bought a small house for myself. If we ever clear this up, I'd like to thank them for caring for my precious baby brother. Sasuke didn't have the confidence to assure Itachi that he would be able to. Could only smile sadly at him. Itachi finished his drink, put his glass aside, and drifted off. Saturday, November 14th. The next morning, Shikamaru had a report. Despite being Saturday, they all came in. The lab was unusually not busy and got the DNA done quickly. The blonde hair came from an ATF agent named Deidara Bakuha. Kakashi slapped the table beside him. That goddamn lying son of a bitch! Get someone over to his house and office right now! Already done, Shikamaru said. Lee and Tenten are on their way to the ATF office. They were on duty when I got the results. Shikamaru didn't emote, but Kakashi noticed the fact that Shikamaru was embarrassed. There's something else. I had forgotten about something Sasuke asked me to look into. He called me about 2 weeks ago to see if I could find an IP address of the person who created a Yahoo email account. And it didn't sound important, but I did everything I could to help. I didn't get far without a warrant. I remembered yesterday. Since Sasuke's missing, I was able to get a warrant since that person might be responsible for an agent's disappearance. I got the IP address of the person who created the account. It was created by someone in the ATF building. I'm going to skin that bastard alive! Kakashi raged. I should have trusted my instincts. We should be getting copies of everything that was sent and received by that account by tomorrow. Shikamaru's cell rang and he answered it. Go to his home. Keep me informed. Shikamaru ended the call. Tenten spoke with Deidara's supervisor and he's on a sick leave. Lee and Tenten will check Deidara's home, but I don't think he'd be stupid enough to be there. I'll check to see if he owns any other property or even a timeshare. If he's still in Konoha, we'll find him. If he's smart, he's not, Kakashi growled. Get me his file. Temari woke up her tablet and started searching for Deidara's personal file. Here. Son of a bitch! Kakashi said, recognizing Deidara as the man with Sasuke last night. Naruto came over to look as well. It's him? So what? If he remembered Kisame had vehicles and go back there to steal one for whatever he and Sasuke were doing? I don't know.
What do we do now? Naruto asked. Sasuke was obviously not under duress. He ran and Bakugo followed. No law has been broken except the stolen truck. Sasuke just risking being fired. I'm worried about him, but I don't think this is a legal case anymore.
The body in that cistern they were near, Kakashi said. I think we have a murder investigations on our hands now.
It's not exactly a fresh case. When will we get the ME's report?
Naruto asked the room in general. Shizune decided to come in and do the examination herself last night. We'll at least have a preliminary soon.
ID?
Naruto asked. None except it's an adult male of Asian descent. DNA from the tooth pulp will take longer. Naruto hunched in on himself. Naruto? Kakashi asked, surprised by his former student's sudden depression.
I knew Fukaku.
You think it's Sasuke's father? Genma asked.
His body wasn't accounted for, but they were sure his body was there, just lost in all the ash and rubble. I'm sure it's Fukaku.
At least we're sure what Sasuke's doing, Kakashi said. Somehow Bakugo has tied up in his private investigation. He won't have a choice but to allow us to help him now with that body.
That body has a name!
Naruto shouted.
Don't talk about him like he's just another victim. He's my best friend's father. He was a cold bastard at times, but he...
Naruto got control over himself. You're right. I'm sorry, Kakashi said. We all become a bit callous after a few years.
I'm sorry for snapping. I'm really very tired. I didn't sleep well.
I know it. Go to the lounge and try to get some sleep until we find Bakugo.
Yeah, thanks. Make sure you get a copy of the autopsy report, by email or hard copy.
We will. Once Naruto was out of the room, Kakashi asked, What about the brown and black hairs? Shikamaru turned the page. They don't have matches in the database, but they are similar to other profiles, so the lab is trying to figure out who they belong to. They didn't say who they were similar to? Kakashi asked. They didn't. I'll assume the black hair is similar to Sasuke, but the brown hair must be the hair of the killer. So that means it probably isn't Itachi, Shikamaru said. Kakashi pursed his lips. The original investigation was flawed somehow. Who could have wanted the entire family dead and not have been on the original officer's radar? Okay, we need to look at this another way, Sasuke said. He and Itachi were sitting on the living room floor with files between them. Data was perched on the coffee table. It was a new day and they all had their heads on straight again. Motive. Passion? Our parents were the only couple in the house. We don't know where father was killed, but his body wasn't found in the house like everyone else. But I don't see why the killer would go hunting for the others. Izuna and Obito were killed in their bedrooms. If mother and father were the targets, I'd kill them, any witnesses, then start the fire, destroy the evidence, and leave, not hunt down anyone else in the house. What about you, Itachi? Did you have a boyfriend at the time? Someone who might kill father because he objected? No, I wasn't dating at the time. Father told me he wanted me to consider going out with a daughter of one of the other wealthy families. I said I didn't want to. He said it wasn't like he was forcing me to marry someone I didn't like. He just wanted me to start shopping around, and that was about time I started thinking about starting my own family. I told him I did want children one day, but that I'm gay. That's when he threw me out. So, no, he didn't come between me and someone else. Thankfully, he didn't find out who I had been with. Is Kisame hung like a horse? Sasuke asked. It looks like he is. Deidara growled, and Itachi just looked at his little brother in shock. He is, isn't he? Sasuke pressed. How could you be satisfied with normal man again?
Sasuke,
Deidara hissed. I finally warranted my name, Sasuke nodded. I didn't have any crazy stalkers yet. If I did, they would have approached me afterward. No one did. Deidara and Itachi were a bit thrown by the sudden changes in topic, but were forced to ignore it as Sasuke went on. Itachi was slightly worried about the head wound, or Sasuke had merely found a way to annoy Deidara. Financially, the only people who benefited were the two of us. Some money went to the charity, the Konoha Academy, and to a few friends. Inoichi was already wealthy and had a position of trust in the company. He was the executor and took over the company in our stead. With the entire family dead, Itachi and I would share everything, the fortune, the house, and the company. My portion of the money was put in a trust, if I was under 18. In the end, it all went into the trust. Inoichi had an alibi, but he could have hired someone, but I don't think he would do something like that. I agree, Itachi said. He mentored me at the company. He's a good man, and not that ambitious. Can you see any other motive? Sasuke asked both of the others. No, Itachi sighed. Deidara shook his head. Sasuke growled. Enemies. He looked for the list compiled in 2004. There's none. Sarutobi noted how insular our family has always been. Bastard. Even those businesses father bought were happy with the money and conditions. On good terms with business rivals like the Hyuga. Izuna and Madara were 2 steps away from being shut-ins. Mother was well loved, but none of that makes sense! Even if it was someone who desired Mother, why hunt everyone down? No one had a motive to kill everyone except you and me. There's no motive! Sasuke took a slow, deep breath. He rubbed his scalp. This speaks of hatred. How could someone hate our family so much and no one notice? And why spare the 2 of us and set the fire to conceal evidence? Why didn't they come for us? I'd been only living apart for a few months and you were away, Itachi said. The murderer probably didn't know we weren't there, or where we actually were. Still, why are we alive? The hitman, Deidara said. They want you dead, Itachi, Sasuke said. Why not me? Deidara's eyebrow went up. I have an alibi, Sasuke sneered. I wouldn't hire someone to kill Mother either. Why now do you think the hitmen were just for Itachi and not for you too? Deidara asked. If they wanted me dead all this time, I've been in the open. Why only now? Why not me? Itachi's been completely missing until now. I'm just some accused killer, Itachi said. You are an FBI agent. Killing me would be a public service. Killing you would result in a shitstorm. Are you sure Inoichi doesn't have any desire to become the sole owner of Sharingan? Deidara asked. Absolutely none, Sasuke said with an air of annoyance. He calls me weekly to ask when I'll come take over the company. He wants to unload it on me ASAP. How would the hitman know I was back? Itachi asked. I've told no one, Sasuke said. No one even knows I have a boyfriend, Deidara said. No one knows about you. Someone does, Itachi said. Sasuke considered for a moment. Wait, my disappearance. I disappear. What do my co-workers think? Disgruntled suspects, family and friends of the same, and my brother. I go missing and they think it might have something to do with you. They would think you were back in Konoha. We have a new pool of suspects. The FBI. None of my peers were old enough or well-placed enough to commit or profit from the crime. Kakashi couldn't have done it. He would have been on call the night of the murder since he was there that night in an official capacity with his partner. I'm sure he had an alibi. I'd have to go through the personal files of the bureau, but offhand I can't fathom who works there now who would have a motive. Sasuke growled again. The only way someone would have profited from the crime if it was linked to the company. I've shown no interest in Sharingan. Itachi, if you're cleared, you will inherit the company. Father, Madara, Izuna, Obito, and Shisui all worked at Sharingan. Even Mom worked there for a time. Only I never worked there. Sasuke's eyes grew distant. Sasuke? Itachi asked. Deidara, go to my house. My passcode is 00139. Find my laptop and bring it here. Got it. The laptop is in the closet of the spare bedroom that I... Why is it a closet? Because I don't want people to see it. Why? Sasuke growled. I'll just have to snoop around, don't I? It has a VPN that can't be traced to me. I use that one to hold and download porn and illegally downloaded movies and stuff, okay? Deidara started laughing. God, I don't want to think about my baby brother having a porn collection. Itachi sighed. I bet it's extensive, Deidara giggled. Baby Uchiha doesn't seem to get laid very often. I beg to differ, Itachi grumbled. Huh? Itachi waved that off. I'll have you know that I have... Sasuke, please, Itachi begged. To me, you're still my precious baby brother. I don't want to hear more about your sex life than I have already. Just go get the laptop, Deidara, Sasuke said as he shimmied his house key off his keyring. The quicker the better. It's the company. It has to be. Kabuto sat in the video bank and absently watched random TVs. He snickered as the wife of one of their clients dragged a different man into her house. While that door shut, he looked at motion on another TV. A thief trying to open a window. Kabuto punched the account number and the code for break-in, and the local cops would be at the house in minutes. He settled back down and turned his attention to another TV while he waited for the action to begin at the break-in house. A blonde approached Sasuke's front door. "Who are you?" Kabuto asked absently. Knowing that Sasuke was still missing and seeing an opportunity to mess with the white-haired agent, Kabuto grabbed the business card Kakashi gave him from off the desk and called him. "Hatake." Kakashi answered his cell phone as he lounged behind his desk, too perturbed to read his erotica. "It's Kabuto Yakushi and Happy Security. I've continued to monitor Mr. Uchiha's house, and there is someone entering his house right now. He apparently has the passcode. It's not his normal blonde boy toy. Never seen this one before. Thought you might want to know." "Yes, thank you. I'll be there shortly." Kakashi shoved his phone into his pocket angrily. Kabuto was just trying to push his buttons, but damn it, he knew which ones to push. He couldn't dismiss that comment out of hand when Kabuto had been right about Kakashi being Sasuke's lover. "Genma, someone's entering Sasuke's house." Deidara was impressed by Sasuke's home. He toured the house, noting the mixture of modern American design and traditional Japanese. Somehow it worked. He thought the kitchen was a bit too sterile, though. The bedroom felt womb-like to him with the reddish walls and a cozy, closed-in feel. He noticed how the trash had been spilled out on a towel by investigators and the desktop computer taken, its wires taped to the desk to prevent them from falling behind. Everything about the house just confirmed what he had already thought about the younger Uchiha. Serious, traditional, and suffering from a giant stick up his ass. The place was immaculately clean except the trash on the bed. There was nothing bright or gaudy. He suspected that Sasuke had hired someone to design the interior, and probably just added pieces of his Japanese heritage. After his little tour of the house, he finally went looking for the laptop. The guest bedroom was prepared for anyone who might need to stay over, but Deidara doubted the little Uchiha ever needed to use it. He checked the closet. Nothing. Just an empty closet. Deidara grumbled. "Stupid baby Uchiha." He peeked into the other guest room, but it was packed with boxes. Deidara pitched a fit, running in place like a spoiled brat having a temper tantrum. He stormed back out to the living room and stopped dead and put his hands up. He had 2 guns pointed at his chest. "Sit down," Kakashi ordered. Deidara smirked and flopped down on his chair heavily, his arms coming up to cross over his chest. The interrogation room was claustrophobic on purpose, but Deidara tried not to let it get to him. "Deidara Bakuha, explosive expert for the ATF, Kakashi said. "Right now, we can charge you with lying to an investigator, trespassing, breaking and entering, grand theft auto, evading, obstructing an investigation, and speeding. Now tell me, what the fuck is going on? Where is Sasuke Uchiha?" "I don't believe you said your name, for the record." Kakashi suppressed a growl. Identifying the agents was indeed a normal way to start an interview. "Special Agent Kakashi Hatake. Agent Genma Shiranui." From the start, Deidara ignored Genma. "Kakashi, I know that name." He spied the orange cover of a book peeking out of Kakashi's inner jacket pocket. Only a few books had orange covers. "You read on the job a lot. I heard you only broke up a fight in the office because it was disturbing your reading. Isn't that book only a handful of pictures away from being porn?" Kakashi remembered that incident. It was the first time he really met Sasuke as an agent. How did this bastard know that? Did Sasuke tell him? How close were they? Before Kakashi could press on any of those questions, Deidara said, "Other than me being at the house, which I had the key for, so breaking and entering is bogus, what evidence is there against me?" The truck parked outside Uchiha's home was the same one stolen from Kisame's rentals, and you were in the possession of the key to that truck. I also saw you with Agent Uchiha on the Uchiha estate the day before yesterday in that truck. Well, you can scrub the Grand Theft Auto. To elaborate on what I told you over the phone, I actually traded my F-150 in for the Tundra. He said it was stolen. Kisame has a brain as small as a dogfish's. He just doesn't remember. I haven't been home in some time. The paperwork transferring it to me is probably in a pile of mail at my apartment." "Where have you been if you haven't been at home?" "Vacation." "Where?" "Nowhere in particular." "Why were you with Sasuke Uchiha on the Uchiha estate?" Deidara couldn't come up with a smart answer to that one, so he didn't say anything. Sasuke had a bandage on his head. How was he injured? Deidara said nothing. We found blood in your truck. You don't start telling us what happened, I will add assault to your indictment. Where did you find blood? Kakashi had bluffed. Sasuke had a bandage, so he took the chance. Passenger seat. It was where he had seen Sasuke in the truck. Nice try. He was only sitting in the back when it was Shit. Bluff paid off. Look, someone mistook your boyfriend's head for a baseball. He got a concussion, but it wasn't serious. Blood though, hence the bandage. Deidara had finally admitted to knowing something about Sasuke, but correctly identifying Kakashi as his boyfriend and saying he was bashed in the head derailed Kakashi considerably. Sensing this, Genma followed up. Who hit him? Deidara looked at Genma for the first time. That, I can honestly say, I have no idea. A story bloomed in his mind. Look, Baby Uchiha was hurt and came to me for help. The nickname was so natural to him now he didn't even realize he said it. He didn't trust himself to drive with a concussion, so he asked me to drive him to the estate. We found that bunker and the bones. I sped away from you lot because Sasuke was telling me to gun it. I had no way of knowing you were FBI. I thought you might be the ones who assaulted him. This morning he asked me to drop by his house to pick up his laptop, and I couldn't find it, and then you nabbed me. Where is he? Kakashi growled. His lover was in danger. He was wounded. I can't say. Can't say? Someone tried to tee his head off his shoulders. I think someone wants the little Uchiha dead. Telling his overproductive boyfriend might get him killed. There was that word again. Was Deidara just mocking him, or did Sasuke tell him who Kakashi was to him? So, I didn't steal the truck. Ask Kisama, it'll jog his fishy memory. I was asked by Uchiha to enter his home, no trespassing. I had a key, no breaking and entering. I evaded you and sped away because your agent told me to. The only thing I did was not admit to knowing who he was when he asked me over the phone. All charges answered. Damn. He sighed and sat back. You were with a missing agent. I will keep you here until you tell me where he is. Missing? You saw him, didn't you say? Is he still missing? If not, tell us where he is, Genma said. Tell us why he'd gone off the radar. Someone tried to kill him, Is Itachi Uchiha in town? Kakashi's question threw Deidara off. Who? He tried to cover. Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke's brother. Are you acquainted with him? Deidara remembered the wanted posters. Oh yeah, long hair, kid looking, but sinister looking. Yeah, I've seen his bolo. Deidara sat forward again. Listen, cradle robber. I didn't kidnap your precious boyfriend. I didn't steal the truck. I didn't assault the little Uchiha. I didn't trespass. I'm just trying to keep him alive by keeping my mouth shut. Book me if you want to. Give Baby Uchiha a few more days, and then you two can go back up twisting up the sheets. Or whoever is it the kid's banging. Kid does need to get laid. Badly. Kakashi stood up and kicked his chair backwards, marching for the door. He wrenched it open, pausing to stare at the man just on the other side. Shikamaru, what is it? Let me talk to him. Kakashi frowned, but stepped back, letting Shikamaru enter. Shikamaru gave a curt nod to the senior FBI agent before seating himself in Kakashi's vacant chair. Kakashi remained standing by the door. You're highly respected amongst your peers, if a bit reckless at times, but I believe that lends to the overall respect. Onaki had nothing but praise for you, even if he gives it grudgingly. Deidara snorted and recrossed his arms. Like I care what that old fool thinks of me. He's your boss. He may be my boss and he may sing his praises, but it's nothing but a pack of lies. That man only cares about looking good in front of everyone else. You know, we picked up a trace DNA among the other things at the Uchiha estate. I've already admitted to being there. That corpse is a decade old at least, and Sasuke was the one who ran from you. You've nothing to threaten me with here. You corresponded with Agent Uchiha before his disappearance. What? He told me he was receiving strange emails from 9262004 at yahoo.com and asked me to trace it if I could. The account was made by someone in the AGF building. All the emails were handled through a third-party email client, so there were no copies on the webmail page, but they should still be on the server. We're looking. What were you two talking about before he left? I'll wait until you find the emails to speak about them. Is that the guy that was found in Sasuke's house? Sakura asked as she entered the viewing room. She stopped next to Naruto, who was watching the interrogation with a hint of apprehension. Are you okay, Naruto? You look nervous, she asked. Naruto offered her a swift nod, but didn't take eyes off the group on the other side of the mirror. He itched to grab his phone and demand what Itachi was thinking sending data to Sasuke's house and who had assaulted Sasuke.
I'm just worried about Sasuke,
he lied. We all are. Maybe this guy knows where he is, Sakura said hopefully.
Maybe.
You don't think Sasuke's dead now, do you? She asked, voicing her fear for the first time. I can't help but think that he was there to kill Sasuke in that field.
I have no doubt the bastard's still alive. He's too stubborn to die so easily. And this guy doesn't strike me as a murderer. And what motive would he have?
Sakura smiled and laid her hand on Naruto's arm, her head coming to rest on his shoulder. You seem so sure that I can't help but believe you. Sasuke is lucky to have someone like you care so much about him.
Yeah,
Naruto smiled, tilting his head to rest atop Sakura's.
He's lucky to have a friend like me.
It doesn't look like they're having much luck in there, Sakura said, scrunching her nose. Is that guy crazy or something?
That's a possibility.
And he works for the ATF?
You already know how nuts they're down there. And to cap it off, he works in the explosive court.
Naruto laughed. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Naruto sighed.
Only it doesn't explain anything,
he thought to himself. Once again, he had to wonder what Itachi was thinking. And how the hell does a fugitive have a friend in the ATF? And why the hell is he accusing Kakashi of being Sasuke's boyfriend? Maybe he knew Sasuke had a boyfriend in the FBI and assumed it was Kakashi because how concerned Kakashi clearly was. That must have been it. Oh, Kakashi doesn't look happy, she commented, biting her thumbnail.
I don't remember last time I saw him happy.
Sakura sweated Naruto's arm. Behind the glass, Kakashi wrenched the door open for the second time. Naruto and Sakura winced when the door struck the opposite wall, leaving a hole in the plaster.
Stay here,
Naruto said and ran to catch up to Kakashi.
Kakashi-sensei,
he yelled. Kakashi sighed and turned to face his former pupil. Kabuto's words came floating to the front of his mind as he turned to face Naruto. It is not his normal blonde boy toy.
Give me a few minutes with him,
Naruto said. As the senior agent, Kakashi was in charge of every aspect of the investigation. Fine, I'm going to my desk. Naruto let out a breath of relief that Kakashi wouldn't be around. The man obviously needed to vent. Naruto needed to talk to Deidara candidly. If he could find an excuse to turn off the speakers, he might get that chance. Kakashi would never have that, but Sakura might. Genma and Shikamaru were exiting the interview room as Naruto returned.
Kakashi's given me permission to speak with him,
Naruto told them. He's all yours, Genma said, and went in search for his irate partner. Shikamaru wandered back upstairs. Naruto entered the room and gave Sakura a signal to hang back. Deidara's eyes opened a little wider when he recognized the man from Sasuke's phone. He had come up behind Itachi once and saw the picture. Now, seeing the man up close, Deidara was struck by his sunny kid looks. Even through that suit, Deidara could tell the younger blonde had a nice, toned body. He wondered if that was why Itachi looked guilty when he was caught speaking to Naruto or looking at his picture. Itachi wanted him. Deidara couldn't fault Itachi for that. One look at him in the flesh and he wanted him too. Budding thoughts of a threesome swam in his head. You're the one Uchiha is always talking to. The use of the last name assured Naruto Deidara was talking about Itachi.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he trusts you.
I've been friends with Sasuke since we were in elementary school.
Ah, I guess that makes sense. Maybe if you turn that speaker off, I'll be more forthcoming with you. Naruto nodded and turned to turn it off with a wink through the glass to Sakura. He sat down and turned off the recorder too.
Okay, what the fuck is going on? What were you doing in Sasuke's house?
Deidara brought his hand up to cover his mouth to prevent lip reading. I was looking for his laptop, but it wasn't there. It has financial records. Itachi and Sasuke need those files to continue the investigation.
I'll try to get a hold of the files and send it to Itachi. I think I can get you out of this. I don't think I can afford your bail.
I haven't been charged with anything yet.
You blew away all the charges.
Except for obstruction. Shit, Data sighed.
Tell me, what are they doing? Why do they need a bunch of financial records?
Beats me. I can't follow them half the time. I'm an explosives guy. I don't do investigations. Itachi runs the show, and Sasuke's doing the investigating. I'm doing the legwork since people are looking for the two of them.
I want to help. I want Sasuke back. I need Itachi cleared, but Itachi doesn't confide in me enough.
They don't confide in anyone. I'd say it's an Uchiha family trait. Naruto had to agree.
Who hit Sasuke?
I was telling the truth. I don't know.
The shooting at the townhouse. Itachi said his friend spooked Sasuke. Was that you?
If Itachi hadn't told Naruto about the hitman and lied about the shooting, then he assumed Itachi didn't want Naruto to know. So he backed Itachi, as he always did. Yeah, Itachi didn't warn him I was coming and Sasuke got a bit jumpy.
I can't help you about charges, but I'll call Itachi and try to help.
Just clear Itachi's name.
I'll do my best.
The floor above, Kakashi was reading everything they had on Deidara. He couldn't find anything to link him to Sasuke, Itachi, or anything shady. Deidara didn't have any connection to this. Why was he in Sasuke's house? And why was Sasuke with him in the other night? If Sasuke wanted to work with Brother Agent, he would turn to an FBI agent. Maybe it had to do with the fire? Kakashi put in a request for any information of the Uchiha case from the ATF. Perhaps Deidara found something and reached out to Sasuke, or Sasuke reached out to him for information. That would explain why they were at the estate together. Kakashi rubbed his hair vigorously once he hung up his phone. He happened to let his eyes fall on the box in the chair pulled up to the side of his desk, which had files pertaining to Sasuke's case and a lone evidence bag. That fox necklace. Blonde boy toy. Kakashi grabbed the bag and went downstairs. Kakashi came up to Naruto's desk and dropped the evidence bag in front of him. Naruto looked up at the older man and then looked at the object in the bag.
Kurama! Where did you find it? Wait, why is it in an evidence bag?
It was in Sasuke's house.
Oh, he must have found it and was going to give it to me then. He knew I was for it. Is it evidence? Wait, you don't think that I...
It is broken, but no, I don't think you had anything to do with his disappearance. It's been photographed and dusted. Take it. There is only Sasuke's prints on it. 2 partials.
Thanks. How did you know it was mine?
I just remembered your fondness for foxes.
Thanks.
Kakashi leaned forward and put his hands on Naruto's desk. What exactly is your relationship with Sasuke?
Huh?
When Kabuto phoned me about Deidara being at Sasuke's house, he said it's not his normal blonde boy toy. Beside his father's executor Inoichi Yamanaka, you're the only blonde man I'm aware that Sasuke knows.
Sounds like a crude guy. I'm really just friends with Sasuke.
You stay at his house overnight?
We're friends, yes. He's got a spare bedroom.
Kakashi eased up, but he eyed Naruto as he straightened. It was the same excuse, the same lie Kakashi used. I'm going back to Sasuke's house. See if I can figure out what Deidara was doing there. Naruto decided to leave too. Kakashi had rattled him, but now that Naruto was alone, on his way to his car, he took the chance to call Itachi. He saw Shikamaru getting into Kakashi's car and waved to him. He was waiting. He hated waiting. Uchihas were not meant to wait. They were antsy bastards with a penchant for the get things done fast and efficiently mentality. Sasuke had retired to his room when Itachi's pacing had become bothersome to the point he actually started contemplating fratricide. Again. He thought better of it and retreated quietly, leaving Itachi to brood in solitude. Itachi never noticed his departure. Sasuke was close to an answer. The thought of them being so close was making them both anxious. Sasuke's phone vibrating caught Itachi mid-step and he turned quickly to the chair Sasuke had been occupying. It was empty. He didn't pause to wonder where Sasuke had gone and instead turned his full attention to the phone, noticing that it was Naruto calling. Naruto, Itachi answered.
I've got some bad news. Deidara's been arrested.
Arrested?
Yes, for trespassing.
Shit.
Itachi, you got to tell me what's going on. Kakashi wants Deidara in prison as soon as possible. He'll be lucky to get bail, and I have to tell you now, I don't have that kind of money just lying around.
Don't worry about bail. I can handle that, Itachi said, renewing his pacing again. It has to wait until Sasuke or I can come back out into the open, though. Was he able to get what we needed?
Well, Sasuke's computer was taken as evidence, and he doesn't own a laptop. That's what Data said when I was looking for. A laptop.
Sasuke said it was a laptop.
It's not there.
It's missing?
Yes, unless Sasuke misspoke.
Where could it have been taken? Itachi whispered to himself.
Kakashi's over there now, looking for what Data may have touched, trying to figure out what he's looking for. Now, will you tell me what these financial records are about?
I'm not sure. Sasuke needs those records to prove who slaughtered our family and framed me for it.
Damn! If the computer is missing, then how will you get those records? Will there be a backup file at the company?
Probably, but we can't just go there and get them. Sasuke said he had complete copies on his laptop, the one he uses solely for the company. And other things.
Would he have packed them up anywhere else?
I don't know, but if he did, it wouldn't be an easy thing to get to them. Itachi sighed, raking his fingers through his hair. He grimaced when his fingers caught his hair tie. He tucked it from his hair, letting his hair fall in curtains around his face. Naruto sighed too, mimicking Itachi by raking his fingers through his own hair. Naruto bit his lip though, wondering what they could possibly do next. He knew if they had Shikamaru working with them, that the genius would, undoubtedly, have come up with something already. But he wasn't working with them, and if Naruto went to him, he'd probably end up right next to Deidara and the arrangement. The only good thing he could imagine about that was that he would be wearing orange. A sudden thought struck Naruto as he thought of the computer genius. I'll ask Sasuke, Itachi started to say.
Is it connected to the internet?
Naruto blurted, interrupting Itachi. Yes, he said he uses it to download things too.
What's his IP address?
How would I know?
Ask him and then call me back. If we can get his IP address for his missing computer, I may be able to get you those files if it's still on. Demi often leaves his shit on.
That's assuming the person who took the computer hasn't tampered with it yet.
I need the IP, Itachi.
Naruto hung up. Itachi stared at Sasuke's phone with something akin to a shock. No one, not even Deidara or Sasuke, had ever hung up on him before. Naruto Uzumaki, Itachi thought. He knocked lightly on Sasuke's door. He heard a muffled sound on the other side before the door opened and flooded the hallway with a soft yellow light. I need the IP address for your laptop. Don't ask questions. Sasuke snapped his mouth shut on the question he was about to ask. Instead he muttered, 172.18.279.4. Why am I not surprised that you know something like that? You asked, Sasuke frowned. Get ready, we may be leaving soon. Sasuke didn't ask questions. He ducked inside his room to get ready. Itachi walked away, already calling Naruto back. 172.18.279.4, Itachi said as soon as Naruto answered.
Okay, thanks, Itachi. I'll get those files to you.
Naruto, Itachi stopped him.
Yes?
You hung up on me. It was Naruto's turn to laugh.
Of course I did.
Naruto hung up again, leaving Itachi to actually pout on the other end. I'm ready. When do we leave? Sasuke asked, pulling on his jacket, his face flushed from rushing himself. Very soon. We're just waiting on those records. Data hasn't gotten them yet? No. Itachi shook his head. He's hit a speed bump. What kind of speed bump? Sasuke asked, cocking a brow in question. He was arrested. You're shitting me. Was my house under surveillance? Of course it was. Damn it! I've got someone working on hacking your computer. We'll have to let Data stew for a while. Naruto made his way up to Shikamaru's office, Sasuke's IP address grasped tightly in his hand. The only computers capable of allowing laymen to hack another computer was Shikamaru's. He paused in the doorway, checking that the room was clear, before sitting down at one of the two computers and bringing up the software. He opened up a second window and brought up a game of mahjong, his eyes flicking to the door repeatedly. He typed in the IP address, amazed when he was granted access to Sasuke's laptop. He searched for the financial records, finding them quickly. He pulled out his own USB and set about transferring the files, his eyes flicking to the doorway again, then back at the screen. It was going to take 10 minutes to complete the transfer, so Naruto returned to his mahjong, attempting to solve the confusing puzzle. He wasn't really trying, he just wanted to make it look like he was. 10 minutes later, and the files were safely copied, and not a moment too soon. Naruto had just enough time to close the program before Temari walked in, pausing at seeing Naruto at her partner's desk. What are you doing here? She asked.
I was waiting on Shikamaru. I just had a question for him.
Is it anything I could help you with?
No, just Shikamaru.
Naruto smiled, trying to hide his nervousness. Temari didn't seem to buy it, narrowing her eyes on him. You've been acting strange ever since Sasuke disappeared, she said.
I'm just worried about him, is all,
he replied hurriedly. We all are, but there's just something off about you lately, and I can't say that I believe it's worry over a missing friend. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and stood up, pushing the chair out from under him. What were you doing on Shika's computer? Temari questioned, walking slowly around her desk.
I was just playing a game,
Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head and smiling. Right, somehow I don't believe you. Temari paused when he saw the Mahjong game in progress, the timer counting up, and the dismal score in the corner. Temari frowned and sighed, her doubt evaporating instantly. She shooed Naruto away from the computer and sat down, closing the game. Shikamaru went with Kakashi to Sasuke's house.
Oh!
Shika should be back soon.
Thanks, Temari. I'll just catch him later then.
Temari nodded and turned back to the computer, giving it a once-over. She didn't know as much about them as Shikamaru did, and everything seemed to be in order. She grudgingly chalked Naruto's behavior up to Sasuke's disappearance. Genma, being unacquainted with Sasuke, had gone home at his normal time, so Kakashi brought Shikamaru with him to Sasuke's house to see if they could figure out what Deidara had been up to. Everything was just as neat and tidy as before. The house was silent as a tomb. As they moved through the living room and over the white carpet without taking their shoes off, Kakashi smiled briefly at how pissed Sasuke is going to be when he returned, had to have all the carpets cleaned. This time, Kakashi was a little more thorough when looking through the cabinets and even the refrigerator. Sasuke was too street-savvy to put valuables in the freezer, but he checked anyway. He checked every can for false bottoms, while Shikamaru shook the sugar and other dry goods in their semi-transparent plastic containers. Sasuke had such big stick up his ass he wouldn't let things stay in their vividly colored boxes and ruin the sophisticated design of the interior. Nothing. Kakashi checked the shrines for compartments under the table for something taped there. They even unscrewed the lighting fixtures. Remind me to murder Deidara for keeping his mouth shut, Kakashi murmured. Shikamaru, the laziest person to work for the FBI, agreed. It was dead silent as they moved to Sasuke's bedroom. Kakashi was sure to get to the boxes under the bed first to avoid Shikamaru from seeing the array of sex toys Sasuke kept there. The underside of the drawers, every pocket of his suits and clothes, under the mattress, even the swords were examined. Nothing. A sudden noise startled them both. It was the rushing of air. They remained stuck still for a full second. It took them to realize it was the heater kicking on. The climate control was still active. Once Kakashi's heart stopped pounding audibly in his ears, he moved on to the storage room, and Shikamaru went to the spare bedroom. Kakashi really didn't have time or inclination to search all those boxes of dead people's possessions. Inside the closet, behind the sliding mirror door, a partially open laptop screen came alive and hummed as it warmed up. The blinking blue modem light was covered with black electrical tape, but the screen glowed in the dark closet and could just faintly be seen through the small opening. Naruto's connection and commands brought up the CMD, and commands scrolled across the black background. The password-protected files were being transferred, their names being listed as over 1,000 files scrolled down the screen. They were mostly word-processor documents, therefore small in size, but there were also picture TIFF and JPEG files. Just on the other side of the mirror door, Kakashi shifted through the boxes looking for something important. He checked the contents briefly to see that they were what they labeled. He gave up on the futile search. There were just too many items to go through in this room. If they had to, he could come back with more agents to go through this stuff, but he devoutly hoped it wouldn't be necessary. He didn't hear the laptop fan over the heater and neglected the closet altogether. The commands finished 5 minutes later. The laptop went back to sleep mode as the front door shut again. Naruto left as quickly as he could, making his way back to the courtyard outside.
I have the files,
Naruto said as soon as Itachi picked up. He was slightly out of breath, a bit from running, but mostly from nerves. You did well, Naruto.
What do I do with it now? How do I get it to you?
Naruto eyed the piece of electronics in his hand, biting his lip. There's a restaurant on Grand called the Oriental Jade. There's a planter along the street, and there's a group of calla lilies in the middle. Put the USB among the calla lily stems and we'll pick it up. Do it quickly and don't hang around. We can't be seen near each other. Just go for a walk and drop the USB there.
Got it!
Thank you, Naruto. Kakashi pulled up in front of the headquarters, avoiding the parking garage while the building was mostly empty. He and Shikamaru were ready to strangle Deidara for the wild goose chase. As they walked through the courtyard, they spotted Naruto slipping his cell phone back in his pocket. He didn't see them yet. I hope you have unlimited calls, Kakashi said, startling the younger agent.
Ah! Kakashi-sensei! Don't do that!
Who are you always on the phone with?
My parents are concerned about Sasuke too. I was just letting them know we haven't given up hope, that we might have a lead, that's all. I was on my way home and just wanted to tell them. Did you find anything?
Nothing, but that storage room of his will take time. I want to sweat Deidara again before I attempt to look through that mess.
I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Night, guys.
Night, Naruto, Shikamaru said. Get some sleep, kid, Kakashi said as he continued into the building. Shikamaru dropped into his seat and slumped against his keyboard, looking very bored. Sasuke's house was a bust. Nothing looked out of place from when Kakashi was last there. That bad? Temari asked, setting a cup of green tea in front of Shikamaru's face. There wasn't a thing touched, missing, out of place, or of any importance, so we have no clue why Deidara was in Sasuke's house.
That bad? Temari whispered. Did you happen to speak with Naruto yet?
About what? Shikamaru yawned.
I don't know.
Temari shrugged her shoulders.
He was here just a few minutes ago, waiting for you. He said he had something to talk to you about.
Shikamaru sat up, his hand coming up under his chin to support his weight. Naruto knew I was going with Kakashi. He was there when we left.
Really?
What was he doing here?
When I walked in, he was playing a game of Mahjong.
He seemed nervous, though, acting strange again. I didn't believe Kakashi when he noted it, but today I had my doubts about him. I feel bad for doubting him. He was really just playing a game. The timer was still ticking upward. Do you remember the amount of time?
Actually, I do. It was 17 minutes exactly when I exited out of it.
Shikamaru pondered. What are some of the things Kakashi noted about Naruto's behavior again?
He seems nervous all the time, but wouldn't that be natural if your friend disappeared?
Give bay.
Shikamaru nodded. The main point for Kakashi is his constant phone conversations. He sees Naruto talking to someone repeatedly and heatedly.
Shikamaru nodded again and turned his computer on from sleep mode. He brought up Sasuke's phone records again, staring at them, wondering if Naruto was talking to Sasuke all along. He called the phone company, ignoring Temari's questioning glance. Itachi parked his brother's Cadillac one street away, and Sasuke got out and sauntered out onto Grand Avenue and down towards the restaurant. He stopped next to the planter and pulled out one of Deidara's joints and lit it up, turning towards the planter to shield it from the wind. He spotted the USB as he breathed in to fully light the joint. He waved out the match and then stuck it in the damp dirt and grabbed the USB. He continued his walk, smoking the joint like a cigarette, not inhaling enough to get a full effect. He kept walking for another block before taking a corner and heading back to Itachi's car. Itachi was playing a game on his own phone, badly, since he was so nervous, to look like he had either pulled over to text or he was texting with the person he was waiting for. Sasuke finally slipped into the car as he tossed the joint away and the brothers drove off, pretty sure no one saw them.
How exactly did this USB end up in that planter? Sasuke asked.
One of Nagato's people hacked your laptop for us since Deidara couldn't get to it. Sasuke hummed, accepting the story. Itachi knew there would be a reckoning soon for him and Naruto. End of chapter 8. Stay tuned.